Hey everybody, how's it going? We are back with CBSI's themed Hot 5 list for this week, and I am joined by the nicest guy in comics, Peter Renna. I am Mike Morello. Peter does dollar bin digging and lots of other things. I am the cover tunes guy, along with other things as well. You want to check out content over on comicbookinvest.com, CBSI. Please do so. It's all free content. We don't ask for a thing. Maybe a little love here and there, but otherwise nothing else. And we just love doing all this stuff, and that includes bringing you the themed Hot 5 for the week. And this week is IDW Variants. And this is an interesting one because IDW is one of those companies that kind of runs the gamut. They've got a lot of different franchises that they're involved in, some of whom are sort of co-ventures. For instance, Star Wars, obviously Marvel is the big publisher for Star Wars, but yet IDW has the kids line for Star Wars. You've got DuckTales, you've got Popeye, you've got Star Trek, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Lock and Key, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, My Little Pony, pretty much all of the hot, cool, fun kids books.
Even the Marvel books.
And even the Marvel books, yeah. And make no mistake, just because these are kids' books, these are very sought after by adult collectors, especially the variants. You have to keep in mind that a lot of adults now, 30, 40, 50-somethings, grew up with a lot of the original content for Transformers, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, all those kinds of things. And so these bring back some really cool nostalgia for them. And as a result, not only do the regular books sell well, but of course, so do the variants. And additionally, the print runs are much lower than what you'd expect on larger books. So for the most part, not only are the A and B covers rarer, but when we're talking 1 in 10s, 1 in 50s, 1 in 100s, we can really, really get to some rare books where there's only maybe a couple of hundred copies out there. And that's pushing, uber rarity. We got a couple people joined us. Pope Cerebus the First. How's it going?
Got Canto.
Yeah, Canto too. That's true. Dr. John Yam, how's it going? Thanks very much. Appreciate having you here. Let's see, saying, what's up, Doc? If you guys have time, maybe we can hear your take on Thor 5. Maybe we can hit that real fast, maybe, and just let you know our thoughts on that. But I don't want to get too down the rabbit hole. Tonight is really about the themed Hot 5. The themed Hot 5 is put together by Ben C. There's a full article over on Comic Book Invest. If you want more details on any of the books that we talk about tonight, go check out the article over there, and you can get more info and clearer picture and all that kind of thing. But for tonight, we're just going to go through. We're going to tell you why these books are hot. They are it's the way they're selling. These are the top 5 at the moment, and some of them, as they come out every week, seem to be some of the hottest books. So, Peter, got anything to add to our little intro? I kind of
you commandeered covered it. I mean, IDW, it's one of those interesting publishers. Like they just publish so many odd properties that you wouldn't think like, oh, they do that. Oh, Mass and all the Hasbro stuff. Like, yeah, interesting books. And again, with the variants, it also makes things interesting because G.I. Joe, I know there's a lot of good G.I. Joe variants that they did over the years. Yeah. And a lot of fun stuff.
A lot of really rare ones. And when we get to the honorable mention stuff at the end, we'll talk about some of that, some of the ancillary Star Wars titles and the Marvel action titles as well when we get down there. But we'll do that towards the end. We're going to start off with our number 5. We're going to go backwards. And we're going to start with this oddity, XFiles Conspiracy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. This is a super rare one. It's funny. It's one of those books that was kind of a ghost for a while, and then a couple of them popped up on eBay, and they sold relatively cheap, which seems strange. They sold for $150 and $160, relatively, and respectively. Pardon me, use my English tonight. When it's a book that throughout May and earlier than that was a $250 book. This is a really rare one. It is just one of those, that a couple people caught right this month or last month. But I think that if you see this hit the market, you're going to see it hit some pretty high numbers again. Turtles is one of those things that continues to be hot, especially the variants. There's almost always a 1 in 10 variant for everything that's done in the kids line, and those are usually really sought after every week when they come out, or I should say every month when they come out. But yes. So as we it's a very different cover as well. Obviously, it looks like a newspaper, sort of daily news kind of a feel, black and white. It kind of has a feel of the early Turtles look, which I kind of dig. That's something that I miss from way back then. It's a cool cover. It's very different. And I like when a cover looks that much different, that unique. I think it's really cool.
It does have that vibe, that Bat Boy, or this guy lost 500 pounds, or all those crazy, tabloid type stuff.
Yeah. And it's great. It's like something you'd pull off the rack at the supermarket on your way through the aisle, which is just really cool. I just think it's really cool.
Yeah, it is.
I like it when stuff's different. I can see why this one's sought after. It's not just a cookie cutter variant. I even like how the barcode is on the damn thing. It actually looks like it fits, like it's supposed to be there, which is kind of cool. So anyway, with that, we move into number 4, and this is yet another interesting one. There was a whole run of these Popeyes, these sort of zombie variant Popeyes, or whatever you wanted to call them, the gross versions of these. This was by far the most popular one. There's no doubt. This was the ghost for most people. But all of them were hot, really hot for a long time. You guys might remember when the Dan Parent / Dan DeCarlo covers for like Betty and Veronica and all those were really hot, and then they kind of took a nosedive. These kind of did the same thing. They kind of went off everybody's radar, but man, there are people dying to get full sets of these Popeyes. Yeah. And some of them were just super ghost books. And this was the one that probably was the coolest cover of all of them. And it also seemed to be one of the rarest ones. It's one, that still commands pretty decent prices. The latest copy sold in a fixed price for $240. Which was marked down from 400, which was probably the asking price about a year or two ago when that hit as well. I remember this being simultaneous to the DuckTales ones being hot as well. There were those variants as well. They did like almost like blue, like graph paper design variants for those, I think. And those were the really tough ones. There was a cool Darkwing Duck one and some of those. And so those were kind of coming out at the same time and everyone was going nuts for those. And then as people caught on, they kind of died out because then stores started to catch on and they started to order enough to get these. But unfortunately, a lot of people were missing pieces of this Popeye set. But I mean, that's just a really gruesome, awesome cover. I would love to have this book actually, but I would never pay $250.
Yeah, you can't unless you get lucky. I'm not having this in my PC because I can't pay that price for a Popeye book. I mean, I love Popeye, but not $200. I don't love Popeye. And as cool as this cover is, because if I bought it, it would be for me. So, but it definitely raised awareness, like you said, on all those other, because that whole run, like they had some interesting artists they chose to do some of those covers.
They did, and they were cool. Yeah, some of them are very cool. They really are. I think this is the best one. I've seen a fair amount of them, at least pictures of them. I haven't seen very many of them in person. Because again, I mean, stores that I know around my area, I have 7 LCSs in my general like half an hour sort of circle. I only know one shop orders Popeye at all, and he didn't get enough to get the incentives. So I never once saw one of these hit the shelf the week it was supposed to hit. So for whatever reason, it's just one of those books people didn't latch onto. But then they saw these variants, and all of a sudden they all wanted them. So and now they're going to have to pay the price. $250 looks like the low. And I could see a couple of the really rare ones going back up to the $300, $400, $500 range. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
All right. With that, we move into number 3. And Dr. John saying Popeye number 65 as well. That was the 65.
That was 65.
Yeah. But all the issues around it as well, Dr. Those are also pretty much as rare. So number 3, this is a recent one. This is one people may have had on their radar actually come pre-order, but of course it was a 1 in 100. And to order a book like this in 100 copies is asking a lot. Kids book, no first appearances, nothing really worth talking about in the book itself. Just a new relaunch of a Clone Wars thing. But Clone Wars is hot again for a lot of reasons. Obviously, not only because of the final season of the show coming out on Disney Plus this past month or 2 months ago, but also, all of the hot news that surrounds Ahsoka Tano and and all the Mandalorian spec that may or may not link up with Clone Wars. as a result, Clone Wars is just straight up hot. Everything's hot about it. So so this book, obviously, as a 1 in 100, was probably nowhere to be found. As a result, 400-ish back in May. It's now in the $200 to $250 range, which is, to me, kind of insane for a book that just came out. But that's our spec market right now. That's what all this kind of stuff is doing. If you look at Miles Morales spec, it's doing the same thing. If you look at Ahsoka Tano spec, it's doing the same thing. And there's lots of other ancillary stuff, ancillary books doing that too.
Yeah.
Lots of new news hitting now that I think some of the studios are starting to think about going back and start filming stuff. So I think we're going to start to get some news about a lot of this. But the interesting thing, this is the only Star Wars book on our list this week, but I will say that there's a lot of Star Wars 1 in 10 incentives and stuff for IDW. If those books hit, man, they're rare. There's the Vader's Castle, like black and white Francavillas. There's, there's the Forces of Destiny. All of those there's 5 of those, and they all have variants. There's those 1 in 10 animation cell variants. Those are super rare. The Ahsoka one's going for like $150 now. And the other ones are rare too. There's just the characters themselves aren't as hot, so the books aren't as hot. There's B covers for most of these as well. So, Star Wars fans are also very different. Star Wars fans are very much like Turtles fans and or like Spawn fans. They want everything. They're completionists.
Yeah.
And so as a result, they want everything. And, getting a 1 in 100 to a kid's book is crazy. So they'll fight each other to try to get these books. This is rare. There's really usually not 1 in 100s. Usually they're 1 in 10s or 1 in 20s or 1 in 25s. So this being a 1 in 100 is a rarity for IDW. I'm sort of surprised they went this route, but post COVID, trying to get back in the saddle, trying to get books out, trying to get people excited about stuff. Maybe that's why they did it. Try to keep themselves afloat. I don't really know, but whatever it takes. Order 100 copies and get this thing. It is, as far as I know, also it's a wraparound cover, if I'm not mistaken. So as you can see here, you can see the barcode and
it's behind the flames, but the barcode would have been on the back.
Yeah, and then the front is a virginized cover.
Exactly.
The regular A cover for that book was really pretty cool, actually, too. Not to sidetrack, but
but I mean, anytime one of these incentive variants even is at ratio, it's really a success. These days, like anything can be hot the week it comes out because that's just the nature of our market right now. But anything that maintains or exceeds ratio after a couple of weeks is impressive these days, really.
Yeah.
So for this to reach what it has, even if it has dropped a little bit from the highs in May, it's still impressive to me.
Yep. It is, absolutely. And speaking of hot and the market right now, let's get into number 2 because we're about to drop the Peach Momoko bomb.
Yeah.
This artist is nuclear fire right now. And, my personal opinion aside, I like some of her work, and it's definitely different. It sort of has the feel to the market like a Scotty Young kind of a style does. There's a certain of a comic-ish or not
cartoonish kind of.
Yeah, cartoonish. That's the word I'm looking for. Like a sort of style to it, but yet with a really nice sort of watercolor feel, which is a little different than we're used to, unless you're a David Mack fan, maybe. Trying to think, maybe Assad Ribic also does kind of a watercolor feel to his stuff, but for the most part, this is not a style that we see very often. It's a sort of a very Eastern kind of style, and that comes through in these covers, and it is perfect for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
This is a great book.
It just meshes perfect. Her style meshes perfectly with the book, and as a result, this book just exploded. This is possibly the variant of the year as far as popularity and price is combined. I think it's a great cover. Actually, this is my favorite.
This is really my favorite of hers because it's just that samurai poster vibe is just it's awesome.
It is, and not because I'm a Red Sonja homer, but I do like her Red Sonja as well, and that's a worthless book. So those are my 2 favorites from her. She has other good ones though, but I find it weird that there's sort of this push towards that Yoda, which I think is a horrendously bad cover.
Yeah, I like the Yoda.
I think it's her worst work. It doesn't look anything like Yoda. It's the wrong book for her style. And that's 1,000 print run on that book. Whereas this Turtles book, it's 250. This is a super rare book. And again, like I said, Turtles fans are like Star Wars fans. They want everything. And they certainly need to have this book too. I think there's every possibility that come December, we look back at this book and this is still the hottest variant of the year. It's possible. I mean, I think we're going to look back and see it, Peach Momoko as being the hottest artist of the year, at least. Whereas last year, maybe it was Shannon Mayer. The year before was maybe Josh Middleton. I think this might be that this year. Correct. Maybe I'm totally off my rocker. I don't know, but
it's only July. We still got a lot of year left. I mean,
we do still have a lot of year left. That's true. And actually, since we just talked about Star Wars, don't forget IDW is about to launch the one-shot Mandalorian issue. I'm not sure exactly what the release date is on that, but I can guarantee you there's going to be some really cool variants for that and probably some rare stuff. So, keep your eyes peeled for those when they come out. Because again, it's going to be marketed as a kid's book, and it's going to probably be a pretty tough one. So, but anyway, this Peach, this is probably her best work. This is perfect. Her style again is perfect for this book. I can see why people want this. And with 250 copies, it's going to be expensive. It just is. So, and I don't want to get too, look, there's nothing, I have no personal agenda here. I'm just talking about what the market does. But, that Yoda book, not to harp on it, but when you're seeing Instagram pictures of dudes with, 200 copies in a box, dude, it's hard to claim that it's rare when you're sitting there, on a short box full of copies. So whereas this one, I'd be surprised if you ran into more than one at a time. So, and I'm not, look, if you collect what you like, and if you like the Yoda one, you can go tell me to screw myself. That's fine. But at the same time, I think this is the book that really people should be focused on. This is the winner from Peach this year, in my opinion.
But it's not the winner for our list.
Not the winner for our list because it doesn't yet quite sell for as much and/or as tough to find as our number one, which is the Snake Eyes number 19 Purple Rain homage variant. There's been a few Purple Rain homage variants. There was the Batgirl one. There was the Bitter Root one, and there may be one or two others. But this is the one that people, this is a really tough book for people to find. At one point, it was about $100. Then it was a couple $100, and now you're going to be really hard pressed to get yourself even a decent copy for $500. And we're talking raw prices here, not graded. So again, just a really tough book to get. It's a really cool cover, really great homage. It's perfect for this character. Just really, really cool. Yeah, this is one I wish I had, to be honest. Not only do I love Snake Eyes and G.I. Joe, but I love Prince too. So the two things together.
Exactly. It's everything meeting together. You got Baroness in the background there on the steps, and just even the purple of the logo. It just hits everything. And I actually love the way Baroness is back there because her Cobra logo, it sits in the perfect spot. It's right where that logo should be on the cover, yet it's on her costume. It's really great. Great. Excellent work.
Yeah, it's a really great cover. I'd love to have one, but certainly not at $500. Not for me. Not for my meager income anyway.
Even if you could, there's still not a lot out there that you can even find for that price. You got to get even lucky to get it raw at that price.
Yeah, absolutely. Try finding one first.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even if one is listed, you got a timing has to be right. I've got the money and it's there.
Yeah, just don't miss it. Yeah. All right. That's the big part of the list, but we still have some
couple
honorable mentions, so to speak, or sort of runners up, if you will. And there's some cool books. I love this first one. I mean, Back to the Future. I'm an 80s baby, so I was born in the 70s, but I mean, I was conscious about movies in the 80s. So
exactly.
Back to the Future. Yeah, I was like 7 when this movie came out. I mean, dude, this thing, that's awesome. Yeah. And some of these books, by the way, so the reason why the books that we're about to show you are not in the list, they do sell for more than any of the 5 that are in the list, but these come up so rarely that there isn't enough data for us to really say they're hot. It's hard to call a book hot if you've only sold 1 copy in 2 years. So, so they do garner quite high prices, but there's just not enough copies out there selling to call these hot. But they are really sought after, and this is obviously one of them.
A lot of fun, that one.
Yeah, absolutely. The almanac, the Back to the Future almanac for Back to the Future 2, $1,500 was the last sale, which is crazy.
Crazy.
There's I guess the next one is the next one that we have.
This one.
So this one I'd never even heard of this one. At least the other two I had seen before, but this one I wasn't aware of until Ben put the list together this week. This is a weird crossover Planet of the Apes Star Trek thing. It was a crossover with Boom Studios.
Yeah.
And the last copy ended on eBay for $1,400. So that's just nuts. I mean, it's cool. It's got the feel of the original Gold Key Star Trek books. This looks like, if I'm not mistaken, the way they did these, once they went through the first 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 of those, they did these little, I guess they're sort of like omnibuses, but they have paper covers, like a really big comic book, and those had covers that looked a lot like these. So I think that's where the idea came from. Very cool. So yeah, Pope Service the First says, I don't have that book, but I do have a time machine. Yeah, if you could, can we go back with you, please, in that time machine?
There's a few books I wouldn't mind grabbing that yesterday.
Maybe we could go back to 1938, Action Comics 1, get ourselves a couple copies, bring them back. That'd be pretty awesome. Please. So anyway, the Star Trek book's cool. It's got a really cool sort of 60s vibe to it. It obviously goes with both Planet of the Apes coming out in the late 60s and Star Trek being out in the mid 60s. This is just the perfect look for both of them. I have no idea what's inside this book. Be interested to see how these two things cross over, but it's probably really cool. Maybe maybe the Enterprise lands on planet Earth during the Planet of the Apes time frame. I don't know. If you know what happens in this book, I want you to please message me and tell me, because I'm kind of intrigued about this book and I kind of want one now.
It's just more properties with rabid fan bases too. Like it's be ignored. Like
exactly, man.
Fans are hardcore.
They are, and honestly, the Apes fans are too. The Planet of the Apes fans are definitely a smaller group, especially the classic Apes people. But yet, man, it's still Apes, and they do go ape. That's what the big poster used to say, go ape. And they really do go ape. They will throw down money, man, for Mego figures and stuff like that. Oh my Lord, they will pay a lot.
Oh, I miss Megos.
Me too, right? And then let's get to the last one here. We have the Kevin Eastman giveaway variant for TMNT 100 by Tom Waltz. Looks like this was given out to employees. This one got bid on at about $500.
Even finding a picture is impossible.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that who knows how many
from the eBay auction. That's the only place to find a picture of this book. It's from one eBay auction or eBay sale.
Yeah, so we sort of cropped it so we could take some of that out. But I mean, there's it's I mean, if this was a giveaway to employees, how many employees really want to sell this? They might want to keep it for their own nostalgia. So I don't expect this to come up very often. Wasn't there some sort of Stan Lee book that happened to like a year ago?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It was like what was that book? It was like I don't know, was it biography or like I don't know, it was some sort of like something. Yeah, they gave away just to Marvel. And didn't they have something similar with the Star Wars book too, for the people who work down in Disney?
Yep. And that was a super ghost too. That was on the Hot 10 list a couple of weeks ago. I've never seen a copy of that thing. That's crazy. No. So, but yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of things that could have made this list that we didn't talk about this week. There's the Marvel Action comics. The one that probably most people remember being hot is the Marvel Action Spider-Man number 10. I want to say it was, that had the John Boy Myers Venom cover on it, which was sweet. Yeah. Matter of fact, all three of those covers, 10, 11, 12, it was the whole story arc together. Those were unbelievable, really, really cool covers. But they all have 1 in 10s. So some of them are better than others. Some of them have gotten really hot, like upwards of $100, $200. Some don't really do much more than 10, 20, 30. But yet still, again, these are mostly kids' books. And as a result, they're going to be under-ordered. Just finding a 1 in 10 can be a real hassle. So, if there's a book you've got your heart set on, try to get it early. Don't wait. They hardly ever go down. They almost always just keep going up. I wouldn't be surprised if we did another one of these IDW variant hot lists next year, and we had 5 completely different books on this list. or these same books at twice the price of what they are at now. It wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, that rounds out the list for us tonight. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about Thor 5. I know we're being asked in our chat. That's not really what this show's about. I will say this. It's hard for me to argue with the writer of the story about where the character comes. If he says it's that book, then it's hard for me to deny that it's that book. Just because the orange/pink smoke in Silver Surfer has eyes and a mouth doesn't mean that was supposed to be the same character, guys. Come on. If Donny Cates says it's not, probably not. And I know he's gotten a little hot under the collar about this whole thing, but I don't know. My answer is always the same. Pete, yours has been the same answer too. Buy both books.
Yeah.
Sell them together in a lot. If you're trying to flip them, put them on eBay together. Let the buyer decide. I don't know.
But you never know what's going to happen.
If you're just reading them, who really cares? Just enjoy them.
When the next Donny Cates comes along and retcons the stories and makes Silver Surfer Black 4 the actual first, then we can have the discussion again.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And you were talking about the Assad Ribic cover for it, too. Yeah, I don't think it's his best cover either. But that book is seeing 120, 130 raw right now. I was a dummy and didn't pick up a copy at 50. Yeah. I should have. I bought the damn Bounty Hunters Bosk variant instead. That was the wrong choice that day, but what are you going to do? But yeah, so that's my take on that. That's, maybe for a different show. So everybody, really appreciate you tuning into tonight and being in the chat. There's some silent folks in there. AJ, what's going on, man? It's really good. Thanks for joining us, buddy. AJ writes a fantastic article on CBSI. Please go over there and check that out. Diesel City Dreams, really fantastic. It may get you hot under the collar too. He's actually running a really, really cool contest right now, sort of a head-to-head thing, which this was the last week.
I think it's the last one.
The finals just hit. So check that out, please. There's other great stuff too. Topher's True First, a fantastic article. Peter's Dollarman Digging. I'll tote my own cover tunes. It's just the appreciation of really, really great art. And of course, the one, the only, the real, the original top 10, hot 10 list. This is Ben Stein's baby. He reports what the market is doing, the hottest 10 books on the market. Then the guys on the Flip Side channel get together on Fridays and talk about it, just like we're doing tonight with the themed Hot 5 as well. But there's tons of free content from everybody up there. Check out all of the great content all week. There's 2 or 3 new pieces a day. We really appreciate you doing that. And please hit up Tales from the Flip Side. They've got their great full podcast on Monday. They've got obviously us here on Thursdays. We do the 3 Comic Monty on Fridays. There's the Weekend Update with Nico on Saturdays. You got Vintage Voyage on Sundays. Man, the content is just every day. These guys are crushing it. So check them out. Check us out over on the site. And we will see you next week for a new.
We got Mayhew again tomorrow, right? Part 2.
Yes, that's right. Mayhew. Yes, Mike Mayhew Part 2 tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon is actually probably when it will actually air for 3 Comic Monty. He was really great to sit down with. Check out that. We had a really good time with him. We did 3 segments in a row. Segment 1 aired last Friday. Segment 2 drops tomorrow, and then segment 3 will drop next week. And we've got some other really great creators in the pipeline waiting to go as well. So please stay tuned to that. We're really looking forward to showing that to you. So until next week, everybody, I'm Mike. That's Pete. We thank you.
Absolutely. Come back next week.